Thank God that's over. This is one of the worst experiences I've had in a while. I had about 800 or so old attempts on this. This took 1,200 new. This is not a beginner extreme. This is so bad. I mean, even if it is a beginner extreme, please don't go for it. This shit sucks. No one made a good part in this level except Findexy, because Findexi's part belongs in a medium demon. I swear to... like, everything in this level is terrible. This is every creator in this level, this is one of their bottom 5 things ever made. For most of these creators, it's their worst. The only reason I'm caveating it is because Zobros built in this level, and everything Zobros builds, except 9 circles, is Zobros' worst thing, so saying that this is his worst is redundant. I cannot believe this level exists. I can't believe it. This level's so ass! I was recording, right? Okay, good, yeah, great. This is terrible. I mean, I would go through all of the things I hate about it, but I'll just hit the highlights, because I could truly pick any click in this level, and I hate it. Like I say, except for Findexi's part, because it's genuinely brainless. The highlights for me, the duel at the start of Guitar's part, the dual cube, the cube ship duel was actually fine once I figured it out. It was kind of annoying, but it was like not a big deal. The duel at the beginning of Guitar's part on 288 works slightly differently than it does on 60. On 60 you can buffer a lot of clicks that makes it pretty, not free, because it's still kind of annoying. I mean, even when it works, it's just a shit part, but you can buffer some of the clicks to make it a little easier on yourself. And on 288, doing those buffers doesn't work. You barely touch like the corner of the spike after the jump after the pink orb, where you're also hitting a yellow orb at the bottom. Like the top cube is hitting a pink orb, the bottom cube's hitting a yellow orb, and you pink orb jump, and then you have to let go before you land with the yellow orb, or else you'll jump and die. That jump after the pink orb that the upside down cube does, you just barely touch a spike on the left side of the platform you're supposed to land on. So to avoid that, I had to do a double click where I waited to, instead of buffering the jump, then buffering the pink orb, then buffering the pink and yellow, I had to wait a bit before the first pink orb, then I double input, so I did the jump and got the buffer for sure, because if I didn't double input, trying to double click fast enough to get the buffer was impossibly difficult. So I double input to make sure I got that, then everything else worked how it was supposed to, kind of. It was terrible. Lots of other parts were really annoying. Like I say, I could pick any part in this and give you 10 things I hated about it. But for the sake of brevity, I'm going to give you the, like I say, like the worst offenders. Zobros' whole part is terrible, as expected, with a part that Zobros makes in a level. It's going to be the hardest part, and it's going to be bullshit, and you're going to die to it for seemingly no reason. Yeah, no, I mean, like, we saw it coming from a mile away, didn't we? Did we not? The worst offender, though, is the click at 55. Died there easily 6, 7, maybe 8 times. Because if you click the blue orb there too early, you die. So you have to try to time it late. But when you try to time it late, you very frequently miss it entirely because you click too late. Because you already have a terribly narrow window to hit it in the first place. So that was shit. And like I said, everything else about Zobros' part is shit for 7 reasons. But that was the worst. That was the worst. My best at one point was 55 times 5. Like, it's not okay. The other bad offender is Lugia's ship part. Just felt awful to play. Particularly 74. The swing down, technically, because you're upside down, but it's up. In between the 2 flat spikes is, like, impossible to control. Well, at least it was for me. And Majako's whole part, I'm shocked I fluked from 0. Absolutely flabbergasted that I didn't die somewhere in that part, because I don't know why, I don't know what it is about it. Majako's part felt impossible. I couldn't get it consistent in practice. I was fully expecting at least a death there in normal mode, and the fact that I didn't die there at least once is, like I say, I am flabbergasted. Like, I cannot believe I didn't die in that part. It's so bad. It's so bad. This is not an easy entry extreme. It's not. I don't know where this was on the demon list. I don't know where people find this difficulty-wise. This is, maybe it's a beginner. I don't disagree that it's a beginner extreme, but it's not an easy beginner extreme if it's a beginner extreme. Like, this is brutal, dude. This sucks. Like, considering I came into this with a pretty solid knowledge of the level already, and 800 old attempts, the fact that it took me 1200 today is shocking. Like, that's really bad. If this is considered like a beginner, like one of the easiest extremes, like, I just disagree. I disagree. If it's beginner, it's one of the hardest. I think it should be easy tier on the non-list worthy spreadsheet. I think this is harder than just about anything you're going to find in beginner. By a long shot, quite honestly. This is ridiculous. But whatever, I don't have to touch it ever again, so thank fuck for that. I'm going to cut the recording here now. Bye.